Alexander the Great, conqueror and cultural pioneer. In 356 BCE, in the ancient kingdom of Macedonia, a child was born who would change the face of the world. Alexander III, known to history as Alexander the Great, was destined not only to conquer vast lands but to blend and influence cultures in a way few rulers before him had done. Born to King Philip II of Macedon and Queen Olympias, Alexander grew up surrounded by legends, with the shadow of Achilles, his purported ancestor, hovering over him. His education under the renowned philosopher Aristotle would later play a vital role in shaping his vision of a world united under a single culture, a dream he pursued as tirelessly as he did his military ambitions. From his youth, Alexander exhibited signs of both intelligence and an unyielding will. Even as a teenager, he tamed the mighty Bucephalus, a feat few thought possible. His relationship with the horse became a testament to his indomitable spirit, marking the start of a journey that would take him across the known world, leading armies across rugged mountains, scorching deserts, and mighty rivers. As he grew, so too did his ambition and desire to exceed the achievements of his father. When Philip was assassinated, Alexander ascended to the throne at just 20. He inherited a strong and disciplined army, but his father's dream of uniting Greece was only partially realized. Alexander quickly subdued dissent within Greece, asserting his authority through swift, decisive actions. The city of Thebes, which rebelled against his rule, was razed to the ground, its people sold into slavery. This served as both a warning and a symbol. Alexander would not tolerate disobedience, but he would also bring strength and unity to the Greeks, consolidating his power over all of Greece before turning his gaze eastward. In 356 BCE, in the ancient kingdom of Macedonia, a child named Alexander was born under a constellation that many believed foretold his greatness. His parents, King Philip II of Macedon and Queen Olympias, were figures of both power and mystique. Olympias, rumored to have believed in powerful omens and ancient gods, often claimed that Alexander was destined for something monumental. She instilled in him an unbreakable belief in his divine mission, something that would remain with him throughout his life. As a child, Alexander was not just a prince but also a scholar and a warrior in training. King Philip, a renowned tactician who had transformed Macedonia into a powerful state, wanted to ensure his son received the best education possible. Alexander was placed under the guidance of Aristotle, the great philosopher of Athens. For years, Aristotle taught him science, literature, philosophy, and ethics, igniting in him a fascination with the myths and knowledge of the world. He introduced Alexander to Homer's Iliad, which soon became the young prince's favorite story. Alexander's admiration for the mythical hero Achilles was so profound that he began to see himself as a modern embodiment of the ancient warrior. He envisioned a destiny similar to Achilles, one of glory, conquest, and everlasting fame. But Alexander's education did not only shape his intellectual aspirations. It also imbued him with a vision of a world unified by knowledge and culture. Aristotle, himself a firm believer in the superiority of Greek culture, perhaps unknowingly planted the seeds of Alexander's later ambition to blend the civilizations he would encounter on his campaigns. Aristotle's teachings reinforced Alexander's belief in the value of Greek civilization, but as he grew, Alexander saw the potential to spread and merge these ideals with those of other cultures, creating a new synthesis of knowledge and society. Rising to power and the birth of a conqueror. When Alexander was only 16, he took his first command in Philip's army, leading troops to quell a rebellion in Thrace. His tactical brilliance became evident almost immediately. By the time he was 18, he fought alongside his father at the Battle of Chaeronea, where they crushed the Athenian and Theban armies, firmly establishing Macedonian dominance over Greece. At this young age, Alexander was already seen as an impressive figure, known for his courage, leadership, and uncanny ability to inspire his men. However, his ascension to the throne would not come peacefully. In 336 BCE, when Alexander was 20, King Philip was assassinated. Some whispered that Olympias herself might have played a role, driven by her ambition to see her son on the throne. Whether true or not, Philip's death threw Macedonia into chaos, as other Greek city-states sensed a moment of weakness and began to rebel against Macedonian rule. But Alexander was not one to hesitate. He moved swiftly, rallying the Macedonian army and demonstrating that his father's legacy of military strength was alive and well. In his first act as king, he secured his power in Greece, crushing the city of Thebes with a ruthless force that shocked the Greek world. He razed Thebes to the ground, sparing only its temples and the house of the poet Pindar, whom Alexander admired. This brutal show of strength served as a message to the other Greek city-states. Rebellion against Alexander would not be tolerated. The Greeks submitted, uniting under his command, either out of loyalty or fear. With Greece firmly under control, Alexander turned his attention eastward, where the vast Persian Empire awaited. The Persian campaign, Alexander's first steps towards immortality. The Persian Empire, led by King Darius III, was the most formidable power in the world at the time. Stretching from Asia Minor to India, Persia represented wealth, culture, and unparalleled military strength. To challenge Persia was to take on a force far greater than any Alexander had faced before. But to Alexander, Persia was not just a political or military conquest. It was a gateway to fulfilling his destiny of a unified empire, blending east and west under his rule. In 334 BCE, Alexander crossed the Hellespont into Asia Minor with a force of around 35,000 men, marking the beginning of his campaign against Persia. His army, though smaller than that of Persia, was highly trained, loyal, and deeply inspired by his vision. Alexander led from the front, sharing the hardships of his soldiers and fighting alongside them, earning their respect and loyalty. His first major encounter with Persian forces came at the Battle of Granicus, where his audacious tactics and relentless drive led to a swift victory. He spared no Persian officials who opposed him, but he treated their cities and cultures with respect, solidifying his reputation not only as a conqueror but also as a leader who valued the people he encountered. Following this victory, Alexander advanced through Asia Minor, liberating Greek cities under Persian control and establishing himself as a champion of Greek freedom. By the time he reached the city of Gordium, legend has it that he encountered the Gordian knot, a complex knot tied to an ancient prophecy. According to the legend, whoever could untie the knot would become the ruler of Asia. Rather than struggle with the knot, Alexander famously sliced through it with his sword, symbolizing his unique approach to challenges. Swift, decisive, and uncompromising. As he continued eastward, he faced Darius III himself at the Battle of Issus in 333 BCE. Though outnumbered, Alexander's brilliant tactics and the discipline of his phalanxes led to a crushing defeat for the Persians. Darius fled the battlefield, leaving behind his family, whom Alexander treated with honor. This respect for his enemies, paired with his ruthlessness in battle, began to define Alexander's unique style of rule, a combination of Greek heroism and Eastern magnanimity. The Siege of Tyre and the march through Egypt. After Issus, Alexander continued south toward Egypt, but first, he had to subdue the island city of Tyre, a powerful Phoenician city-state that refused to surrender. The Siege of Tyre, which lasted for 7 months, showcased Alexander's tenacity and his willingness to overcome any obstacle, no matter the cost. Tyre was built on an island and heavily fortified, but Alexander constructed a massive causeway across the water, inching his forces closer to the city with each passing day. When Tyre finally fell, Alexander's soldiers stormed the city in a fierce battle, showing no mercy to those who had resisted him. After securing Tyre, Alexander continued into Egypt, where he was welcomed as a liberator from Persian rule. In Egypt, Alexander founded the city of Alexandria, which would become a beacon of Hellenistic culture and a center of learning for centuries to come. He also made a pilgrimage to the Oracle of Ammonius at the Siwa Oasis, where he was allegedly proclaimed the son of Zeus Ammonius, solidifying his belief in his divine destiny. Alexander's conquest of Egypt marked a pivotal point in his journey. Not only did he gain control of one of the most prosperous regions in the world, but he also set the stage for the cultural blending that would define his legacy. In Egypt, Greek ideas mixed with Egyptian beliefs, laying the foundation for the Hellenistic era, a period that saw the fusion of Greek, Persian, Egyptian, and Indian cultures, toward the heart of Persia. With Egypt under his control, Alexander turned his sights on the Persian heartland. In 331 BCE, he confronted Darius once more at the Battle of Gaugamela, a massive confrontation that would determine the fate of the Persian Empire. Despite being vastly outnumbered, Alexander's tactical genius allowed him to outmaneuver the Persian forces and achieve a decisive victory. Darius fled once more, but this time, his empire began to crumble as city after city opened its gates to Alexander. Soon after, Alexander entered the Persian capital of Persepolis, where he allowed his men to plunder the city as a symbolic end to the Persian Empire. But Alexander's journey was far from over. His ambition, fueled by visions of a unified empire, led him further eastward, toward the lands of Bactria and India. Along the way, he married Roxana, a Bactrian princess, symbolizing his desire to blend cultures and create a new ruling class that could unite his diverse empire. His soldiers, however, grew weary of the endless campaigns and foreign lands, longing to return home. Yet Alexander pressed on, driven by his unquenchable thirst for conquest and his vision of a world united under his rule.